Zashiki Warashi, Umibozu, Noppera-bo, Bakeneko. These are some of the names of entities called yokai. You may have heard of them in games, maybe in anime. Some Pokemon are also based on yokai. Welcome, wonderful souls. It's time for Brush with Death. Death is me, and you can call me Grim. In today's Brush with Death episode, we'll be making new Fakemon based on yokai, supernatural entities heard in Japanese folklore and myth. But how do we choose what yokai to use for our Fakemon today? Let me introduce to you one of my favorite anime, Mononoke. With beautiful animation and beautiful stories to tell, this anime from 2006 just got a new movie. And 2 more films coming up, wow, yeah! This anime features yokai, and we'll be making Fakemon based on the 5 main yokai encountered in the show by the main character, the medicine seller. Zashiki Warashi are house spirits that bring fortune and luck to the house that they choose to reside in. They take the form of young children and love to play games, sing songs, nursery rhymes. However, if they leave a house or are shunned away, the house and the people in it will be tumbling in ruin. In Mononoke, they look like this. Okay, the yokai babies, okay? Give them a break. This is Kidama, the toy Pokemon, with his name coming from Kid and Kendama. Kidama appear overnight in houses they like, seeking whoever lives in it to play games with them. While I did base Kidama on the Zashiki Warashi scene in Mononoke, I used Kendama toy as a base to reference Zashiki Warashi's enjoyment of playing children's games. Let's see what Kidama evolves into. This is Warashif, the playful Pokemon, with his name coming from Zashiki Warashi and Mischief. Houses inhabited by Warashif will hear click-clacking at night, as they are nocturnal and love jumping with other Warashif. Warashif will keep its ghost and fairy typing and the abilities of its pre-evolution. With Warashif, the Kendama ball is now its head, and the hammer of the Kendama toy looks like a kimono on a young child, or like a Kokeshi doll. Now let's see the final stage of this evolution line. Meet Exubarashi, the fortunate Pokemon. Its name comes from exuberant, which is another word for cheerfulness in Zashiki Warashi, but it also sounds like Subarashi, which is a Japanese exclamation meaning wonderful. The house where Exubarashi evolves will remain its home till death of the owners or demolition of the home. So if you, the trainer, move to a different home, Exubarashi will not follow you, and if you bring its Pokeball with it, it will return to the former home. Exubarashi will be Ghost Fairy type and gain the ability Super Luck and the hidden ability Shadow Tag. Exubarashi can only evolve in houses, and if owned by a trainer, can only evolve in the trainer's home. For example, if this was a game, you would have to fly back or backtrack to your starting home to evolve it indoors with a rare candy. Because Zashiki Warashi also loves to sing nursery rhymes, the Kendama hammer shape now gives the Pokemon a choir dress look. The Kendama ball is now big and heavy, showing that it's weighted down and attached to a specific home. Umibozu means sea monk, usually depicted as a giant, shadowy, humanoid figure rising from the seas to attack ships, often compared to another yokai called Funayure, or considered one and the same. They say, "Lend me a ladle," and then they fill your ship up with water with the ladle that they took from you. In Mononoke, multiple yokai are present that eventually leads to the true Umibozu, but an Umizato makes a prominent appearance, which is a slightly different yokai from the Umibozu. And in the show, the Umizato is depicted with a biwa, which is a traditional Japanese instrument, kinda like a guitar. Meet Giladle, the ladle Pokemon, with his name coming from Gil and Ladle. Giladle only swim near the water surface during a storm. The patterns on their head mimic eyes, steering predators away. Gilado will be a pure water type with the ability Drizzle. I designed his body to be a ladle shape, looking like it's carrying a black liquid, which resembles how Umibozus are depicted. The fins are liquid looking, so Gilado looks like some soup. Gilado evolves into Bozuod, the sea storm Pokemon, with its name coming from Umibozu and Ode, a lyrical poem. Bozuod make guitar sounds to summon sea storms. They overturn fishing ships. Bozuod will keep the pure water typing and the ability Drizzle. The ladle is now shaped into the biwa, and the fins are now made to look like huge waves. Unlike Gilado, who will be about the size of your hand, Bozuod will be around Dondozo size or maybe even bigger. You may not recognize it by the name, but I'm sure you know this yokai. It's the faceless yokai, a human without a face. While harmless, they just like to scare people, freak them out, make you do a double take when you pass them on the streets. But how do you make a Fakemon without a face? Meet Pumpkless, the pumpkin Pokemon, with its name coming from pumpkin and faceless. Pumpkless hide in farms, waiting to scare farmers and Pokemon trying to eat it. Pumpkless head is edible. Let's go. Time for a snack. Happy Halloween! Pumpkless is a pure grass type with the ability Sap Sipper and Magician. Ooh! I use pumpkin as my reference because of jack-o'-lanterns, where you normally carve out a spooky face on a pumpkin. In contrast, this pumpkin ain't got no face at all. Pumpkless evolves into Noppera-bo, the magic face Pokemon, with its name coming from Noppera-bo and pumpkin. Noppera-bo does magic with its face whole, like a magician's hat. It plays tricks and performs magic shows for people. Noppera-bo will gain the psychic type along with its grass type and have the same abilities of Sap Sipper and Magician. I made this faceless pumpkin into a magician really because I thought the top of the pumpkin stem looked like a witch hat. It also fits that instead of using a magician's top hat to do magic with, it uses its face hole and brings back the focus to the faceless yokai reference. Nue is a type of Japanese chimera. It's got a monkey head, a tanuki body, tiger limbs, and a snake for tail. They're yokai mostly, if not definitely considered evil and dangerous, unlike some of the previous ones. The chimera aspect of this yokai can make his design seem pretty standard. Luckily, in the Mononoke episode, this blue dog makes an appearance just because. This is Frenera, the speedy Pokemon. Frenera, coming from frenetic, which is being uncontrollably fast, is what you might know as dog zoomies and chimera. Frenera's speed frenzies leave an area filled with static electricity. However, it is not dangerous. Frenera will be a pure electric type with the abilities Static or Tough Claws. This line's design is heavily inspired by the depictions in the anime's newest story. The sky blue dog and the markings on the newest mask in the show really put together an interesting electric type. Frenera's curled up tail also has one frayed fur to both show the static electricity, and it also mimics a snake's tongue like the newest snake tail. Frenera evolves into Luminue, the Frenzy Claw Pokemon, with its name coming from Luminous and Nue. Trainers send off Frenera back into the wild as Luminue are extremely dangerous. They are hard to tame. Luminue will gain the Dark typing along with its electric type and keep the abilities of Static and Tough Claws. Once again, the anime's version of the Nue heavily inspired the design with the mask and the black hair. It also fit well with the monkey and tiger body parts of this yokai. The red claws and teeth also show the bloodlust and evil nature along with the Dark typing, which in Japanese is called the Aku type, meaning evil type. When I decided on this video, I figured Bakeneko would be the toughest to design. Bakeneko, not just cats, yokai cats. We already have 500,000 million cats, so I really had to think about this one. In the Mononoke universe, there's actually two Bakeneko stories, one from Mononoke and another from a previous anime called Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales. I used the Mononoke's Bakeneko story that takes place in a train. This is Kitten, the ominous Pokemon, with its name coming from kitten and train. Kitten is a mythical Pokemon. Kitten rings its bell to warn others. When Kitten arrives, it sits still and will sow misfortune on those who walk past it. Kitten will be a normal type with a new ability I made called Affliction, which gives the opponent a random status condition when Kitten enters the field. Kitten is designed after a railroad crossing sign with the yellow railroad sign face. No, it's not an X-Men. It also plays into the belief that passing a black cat will give you bad luck. Its whiskers are meant to look like light rays from the eyes, which both glow in the dark. And these were the tales of the 5 new lines of yokai-based Pokemon. Tell me which one was your favorite in the comments. I've also created some social media for Brush with Death. You can follow me on TikTok and Twitter X, both at _Brush with Death. I will also link them in the description. I love yokai and other types of mythological stories or cryptids which we may use for future videos. Maybe that's why I also find Pokemon to be a fun franchise, with legendaries and mythicals, with folk tales and Pokemon stemming from belief. Our minds help us build an image of these yokais the same way we create new Pokemon designs. So keep creating and maybe you have a brush with death. I'll see you next video. Yo!